Beloved, let us begin by recognizing that there is nothing for you to do in this moment, nothing to accomplish, nothing to reach, and nothing to attain. We are not entering into a practice, nor are we beginning a discipline. We are simply pausing long enough to notice where we already are. Moses was told, "Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground." And I tell you now, you have not moved from that holy ground at any moment of your life. You have only been distracted from the awareness of it. We are not here to seek God, for the prophet has already answered that search. In him we live and move and have our being. One does not seek that in which one already lives. One does not search for the air that sustains every breath. And so we begin by laying down the ancient habit of striving after God, of reaching upward or outward, of hoping to contact something that is already fully present. Be still and know that I am God. Notice the order of that revelation. Not know and then be still, but be still and knowing follows as the natural result. Many come to such a moment believing that they must quiet the mind, calm the body, or improve the state of consciousness before God can be felt. That belief itself is the last barrier. God does not wait upon improved conditions. God does not enter consciousness when it becomes worthy. God is not invited. God is, before Abraham was, I am. Before your thoughts arose, before your concerns appeared, before your desires formed, I am. And that I am is the very life by which you are aware at this moment. Let us understand this clearly. Stillness is not something you are about to enter. Stillness is what remains when you stop resisting the presence that already fills you. The ocean does not become calm by effort. It reveals its depth when the surface winds subside. So it is with consciousness. The soul does not become holy through activity. Holiness is revealed when activity ceases to dominate awareness. Thus saith the Lord God, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Now, there may arise a subtle impulse to do something with this moment, to listen closely, to concentrate, to follow along. I ask you to notice that impulse and gently let it pass. There is no instruction you must follow here, no direction you must hold. We are not attempting to guide God into speaking. We are only consenting to stop interrupting. The psalmist tells us, "The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." That peace is not silence enforced by will. It is the peace that remains when we stop managing life. Rest, then, from the belief that you are responsible for this moment. Rest from the belief that you must make something happen. The government of your life is not upon your shoulders. It never was. The government shall be upon his shoulder, and that government has never been suspended, not for a single instant. Even when you believed yourself alone, even when fear spoke loudly, even when thought ran unchecked, the presence remained untouched, undisturbed, complete. We are not here to improve ourselves, for the self that God created does not require improvement. We are not here to heal, for in God there is no unhealed condition. We are not here to correct the past or secure the future, for God does not dwell in time. God is now, and now is eternity made visible. I am the Lord, I change not. And because God does not change, that which God creates does not lapse into absence, weakness, or lack. So we begin by consenting to be where we already are, not as a body seeking peace, not as a mind seeking answers, but as awareness resting in its source. The Christ said, "The kingdom of God is within you," not approaching, not descending, not arriving later within you. And where the kingdom is, there is no need to strive, no need to defend, no need to become. There is only recognition. Let us rest then in this simple truth. God is present, and nothing is required of you to make that so. You need not hold this awareness. It holds you. You need not sustain this moment. It sustains itself. You need not be afraid of losing it, for you cannot lose that which you are. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. This is not a promise to be fulfilled later. It is a statement of eternal fact. And so we stand, even now, on holy ground, not because of what we are about to do, but because of what has always been true. The only invitation extended is this: be still. Not as an act, but as a surrender. Not as a discipline, but as a release. Be still and allow God to be God. Now let us look very gently, very honestly, at this subtle thing called effort, because effort is the last thing the human mind is willing to surrender. We can give up many outward burdens, many fears and struggles, yet still cling to the belief that we must do something to enter into God. And that belief, however well-intentioned, is the veil that hides the face of truth. You see, the human mind has been trained from infancy to believe that nothing happens without effort. If we wish to learn, we study. If we wish to build, we labor. If we wish to succeed, we strive. And so, quite naturally, when we turn toward God, we carry the same habit with us. We try to still the mind. We try to quiet thought. We try to enter silence. And all the while, it never occurs to us that God is not entered through effort, but revealed through surrender. The Master did not say, "Strive and know that I am God." He said, "Be still." Stillness is not an achievement. It is a cessation. It is not something added to consciousness. It is what remains when something is removed. The prophet Elijah did not find God in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in the still small voice. And that voice did not appear because Elijah forced it to speak. It was heard because the turmoil ceased. Let us be very clear. The attempt to become still is itself movement. The attempt to quiet the mind is itself noise. The attempt to reach God places God at a distance. And the moment you place God somewhere else, you have denied the truth of omnipresence. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If God is everywhere, then God is here. And if God is here, then what remains for you to do? Effort implies lack. Effort implies that something is missing. But God is not absent, and truth is not delayed. Harmony is not on its way. It is. The kingdom of heaven is not being built, it is established. It is finished, said the Christ, not will be finished, not must be finished by human endeavor, but is finished. And when we strive, we are unconsciously declaring that God's work is incomplete and requires our assistance. Now you may notice that even as these words are spoken, the mind wants to cooperate, it wants to apply, it wants to practice, it wants to remember. I ask you to smile gently at that impulse. The mind is not your enemy. It is simply an instrument that has forgotten its place. The mind was never meant to govern life. It was meant to witness life. It was never meant to create truth. It was meant to be aware of truth. Jesus told us plainly, take no thought for your life. He did not mean neglect. He meant release. He meant freedom from the belief that thought governs being. Thought does not sustain you. God sustains you. Thought does not protect you. God protects you. Thought does not heal you. God is your life. And when thought tries to manage stillness, it only prolongs unrest. Stillness appears when effort stops, not because stillness is produced, but because it has always been there. Just as the sun does not appear because clouds struggle to move away, but because they cease to obscure, so stillness does not come because effort succeeds, but because effort ceases. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, not in exertion, not in discipline, not in control. So if you find yourself trying, let that trying go. If you find yourself listening intently, let that go. If you find yourself waiting for something to happen, let that go. God is not about to arrive. God is not about to speak. God is not about to act. God is. And your awareness of God does not increase by effort. It increases by the absence of interference. This is why the Infinite Way has always taught that prayer is not something you do, but something you receive. Preparation may take the form of right thinking, right recognition, or right understanding, but prayer itself, the living word, the activity of God, is never produced by human will, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. When human striving ends, divine activity is revealed. Let us rest, then, from the belief that we must bring about stillness. Let us rest from the habit of effort. Let us rest from the notion that God responds to technique. The stillness you seek is not ahead of you. It is beneath the noise of trying. And the moment you stop trying to be still, you may discover without effort, without surprise, that stillness has been holding you all along. Now we come to one of the most liberating realizations ever given to human consciousness, and yet one of the most resisted. God is the only activity, not the greatest activity, not the highest activity, not an activity working alongside yours. God is the only activity, and until this is realized, not intellectually accepted, but inwardly recognized, there remains a subtle tension in the soul, a sense of responsibility that was never intended to be borne by man. From the beginning, the human mind has assumed a burden it was never designed to carry. It has assumed responsibility for life, for health, for supply, for safety, for future, and even for spiritual attainment. And under that burden, it has labored endlessly, fearing that if it relaxes its grip, something will go wrong. Yet the scriptures speak with unmistakable clarity. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Not sometimes in vain, not partially in vain, but in vain. Consider what it means to say that God is infinite. If God is infinite, then there is no place where God is not acting. If God is omnipresent, then there is no moment in which divine activity is suspended. If God is omnipotent, then there is no power operating apart from God. And if this is true, and it is, then what remains for you to do, except to cease taking upon yourself what was never yours? Jesus lived from this realization. He said, "The Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do." Notice, he did not say that the Son tries to do God's work, nor that the Son helps God, nor that the Son plans and then asks God to bless the plan. He said, "The Son does nothing of himself, and in that nothingness, the fullness of divine activity was revealed." This is the great rest spoken of in Scripture. "There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God." That rest is not inactivity in the human sense. It is freedom from personal responsibility. It is the rest that comes when you realize that life is not happening to you nor by you, but as the activity of God. When this dawns, fear loses its foundation, strain dissolves, and anxiety finds nothing to stand on. Now, the human mind will object. It will say, "But surely I must do something. Surely I must plan, decide, protect, improve." And yet the Christ answered that objection long ago. "Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Which of you, by worry, has ever produced peace? Which of you, by fear, has ever secured safety? Which of you, by effort, has ever made God more present?" The truth is, every moment that you have believed yourself responsible, God has still been sustaining life perfectly, even in your ignorance, even in your fear, even in your resistance. The activity of God has never faltered. Your heart beat without instruction. Your breath flowed without management. Healing took place beyond your awareness. Protection surrounded you without your request. He maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good. Divine activity is not conditional upon human cooperation. So we begin, very gently, to lay down the burden of personal responsibility. Not all at once, perhaps, but here now in this moment, you are not responsible for making this meditation successful. You are not responsible for maintaining awareness. You are not responsible for holding stillness. God is the stillness. God is the awareness. God is the activity revealing itself as life. When we say, "Let God run the universe," we are not making a statement of resignation. We are making a statement of truth. God has always been running the universe. The only thing that ever changed was our belief that we were running a small part of it. And that belief has been the source of strain, fear, and fatigue. "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." That invitation is not poetic. It is practical. It is the withdrawal from false responsibility. Let us then rest from managing outcomes, rest from supervising life, rest from attempting to control the flow of thought, the rhythm of breath, the movement of consciousness. The government is not on your shoulders. It never was. The Lord reigneth. Let the earth rejoice. And because the Lord reigneth, you may rest. You may be still. You may release. As this recognition deepens, something extraordinary occurs. Life continues, but strain does not. Action unfolds, but anxiety does not. Decisions arise, but fear does not govern them. You find yourself moving, speaking, and responding, yet with a sense that something greater is doing the living. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. This is not mysticism reserved for saints. It is the natural state of being when personal responsibility is surrendered. So for this moment, let us consciously release the belief that we must hold anything together. Let us consent to the truth that God is the only activity, and in that consent, without effort, without struggle, without thought, you may begin to feel the gentle assurance of divine government not as an idea, but as a living presence sustaining all that concerns you. Now, having laid down the burden of effort and released the false sense of personal responsibility, we come naturally, not by design, but by unfolding into a quieter depth of awareness. There's nothing new to learn here. nothing further to understand. We are simply allowing consciousness to settle into what it has already recognized. This is not a movement forward. It is a sinking back into the foundation of being. At this point, words themselves begin to lose importance. Not because words are wrong, but because they have done their work. They have prepared the ground, loosened the soil, and now the seed may rest in silence. The scripture tells us, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Notice again, returning, rest, quietness, not effort, not striving, not control. There is a tendency, when silence approaches, for the mind to become alert, almost watchful, as if something important must be noticed or captured. Let that tendency go. Nothing here needs to be observed, remembered, or retained. God does not reveal himself to the observer. God reveals himself to the yielded. Except ye become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. The child does not analyze the moment. The child abides in it. Now, there may be the gentle presence of sound, not as something to listen to, but as something that frees you from listening. Do not attend to it. Do not follow it. Do not evaluate it. Let it be as the hum of life itself, present, unobtrusive, carrying awareness away from thought and into simple being. As the psalmist says, deep calleth unto deep. This is not a call of words, but of resonance. You are not entering into stillness. Stillness is revealing itself as you withdraw consent from thought. You are not going deeper. Depth is not a distance. It is an absence of surface agitation. And so, as attention loosens its grip on thinking, awareness naturally rests where it has always been. This is why we do not try to meditate. Meditation happens when trying stops. If thoughts arise, let them pass as clouds pass across the sky. Do not resist them, and do not follow them. Resistance gives them power. Attention gives them life. Leave them alone, and they dissolve of their own nothingness. Resist not evil, the Master said, not because evil must be tolerated, but because it has no power of its own. Thought, too, has no power when it is not entertained. There is nothing sacred you can lose here, and nothing sacred you can miss. God is not fragile. Presence does not come and go. Awareness does not vanish because attention wanders. The stillness remains whether you notice it or not. And gradually, very gradually, without effort, you may sense that you are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are simply here. This is the holy pause. Not a pause in sound, but a pause in striving. Not a pause in awareness, but a pause in self-direction. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Notice again, stand still. Not move toward, not reach out, not call down, but stand still. Salvation, harmony, revelation are not produced. They are witnessed. So we allow the mind to rest from its labors. We allow consciousness to be what it is without supervision. We allow God to be God. There is nothing you must hold in this moment, not a thought, not a feeling, not a state. The presence holds you. Underneath are the everlasting arms. And because those arms are everlasting, they do not tire, they do not withdraw, and they do not require your assistance. Remain, then, in this gentle yielding, not waiting, not expecting, simply consenting. This is not emptiness. It is fullness without form. It is not silence as absence, but silence as presence. And as this rest deepens, words may naturally fall away, not because something is ending, but because something eternal is quietly revealing itself. Now we do not proceed, we remain. There is nowhere to go, nothing to enter, nothing to deepen. We have come to the place where movement ceases, because movement is no longer necessary. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This is that abiding, not an act of will, but a state of consent. Here, awareness rests without direction, not focused, not wandering, simply present. The human sense of time begins to loosen its grip, not because time has been conquered, but because it has been forgotten. In God there is no time, there is only being. I am that I am. Not I was, not I will be, I am. Let there be no concern now about thought. Thought may come and thought may go. It is of no importance. The stillness you are resting in is not disturbed by thought any more than the ocean is disturbed by a passing ripple. The depth remains untouched. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. This peace is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of God. You are not required to hold this stillness. Stillness holds you. You are not required to remain aware of God. God remains aware of you. Even that sentence must now be allowed to dissolve, for God does not observe you as another. God lives as your very awareness. I and my Father are one life, one presence, one being. If there is a sense of letting go, let it happen. If there is no sense at all, let that be so. Experience has no authority here. Feeling has no rank. Sensation does not testify to truth. God is not felt more in one moment than another. God is, and that is enough. In this resting, the soul remembers what the mind forgot. It remembers that it has never been separate, never been abandoned, never been left to manage life alone. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Want ends, not because something is supplied, but because the belief in lack dissolves in the presence of fullness. This is the Sabbath spoken of in Scripture, the rest that comes when work is finished. Not human work, but the work of believing in a power apart from God. When that belief dies, even for a moment, the soul rests. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. This holiness is not effort. It is recognition. Do not hurry through this abiding. There is nothing on the other side of it. This is the other side. The kingdom is not beyond this moment. It is within it. And whether awareness is clear or dim, quiet or active, the truth remains unchanged. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Let the stillness be as it is. Let awareness float, or settle, or simply be. There is no correct way to abide. God is not grading this moment. God is revealing himself as the very capacity to be aware without strain. And so we remain without commentary, without evaluation, without desire, not trying to hold God, not trying to lose self, simply resting in the fact of being. Be still. Nothing more is required. Nothing less is possible. Now, without leaving the stillness, we allow a gentle recognition to dawn. Not a thought, not a conclusion, but an awareness that life has been going on all this while, perfectly, quietly, without your supervision. You may notice that nothing collapsed when effort ceased. Nothing failed when responsibility was laid down. Life continued. Being continued. Awareness remained. And in this simple fact is revealed one of the great mysteries of spiritual living. God lives the life. This is not something newly achieved in this moment. It is something newly noticed. I sleep, but my heart waketh, says the Song of Solomon. Even when personal thought grows quiet, even when the sense of I am doing dissolves, life does not stop. The heart still beats. Breath still flows. Awareness still knows itself. This is the activity of God, silent, effortless, continuous. You may begin to sense that the stillness is not passive. It is not emptiness. It is not a blank. There is an intelligence here, a presence that knows without thinking, governs without planning, sustains without strain. Scripture calls it the Comforter, the Spirit of truth, the Father within. It is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And we may add, it is not ye that live, but the Spirit of your Father which liveth as you. This recognition gently dissolves the ancient fear. If I let go, what will happen? You are discovering now what has always been true when you let go. God does not. When you stop managing, divine order does not falter. When you cease directing life, life reveals its own direction. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Ordered, not improvised. Governed, not guessed. Here, responsibility changes its meaning. You are no longer responsible for life. You are responsible only to recognize the source of life. You are no longer responsible for outcomes. You are responsible for inward consent. And even that responsibility becomes lighter as understanding deepens, until recognition itself becomes spontaneous. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. This is what it means to say that God is living your life. Not that you become inactive or withdrawn, but that action is no longer driven by fear or personal will. Thought may return, speech may return, movement may return, but something fundamental has shifted. You are no longer standing outside life trying to control it. You are within life, witnessing it unfold. In Him we live and move and have our being. There is a quiet confidence that accompanies this recognition. Not confidence in self, but confidence in law. Not confidence in circumstance, but confidence in presence. You may feel no emotion at all, and that is perfectly right. Peace does not always announce itself with sensation. Sometimes it is known only by the absence of struggle. Sometimes it is known because nothing is asking to be fixed. And this inner government does not depart when silence ends. It does not require conditions to remain. It does not depend on music, posture, or time of day. It is the law of being itself. Whether you are aware of it or not, it remains intact. But awareness brings cooperation, and cooperation brings harmony into visible experience. Acknowledge Him in all thy ways, and He shall direct thy paths. So, we do not try to hold this recognition. We do not try to keep the stillness that would be returning to effort. We simply acknowledge what has been glimpsed. Life is not personal. Life is divine. Life is not driven by thought. Life is sustained by spirit. And this spirit is not separate from you. It is your very being. Remain. Then, in this Gentle awareness, not clinging to it, not guarding it, but trusting it. God is not fragile. Truth does not vanish when attention moves. The stillness that has been known here is not confined to this moment. It is the foundation upon which every moment rests. Now let us see clearly that stillness is not something apart from living. It is not reserved for moments of quiet or withdrawal. Stillness is the foundation of all true action. When the Christ withdrew into solitude, it was not to escape the world, but to return to it without burden. And when he returned, he did not lose the stillness. The stillness went with him. This is important because many believe that stillness is fragile, that it must be protected from activity, noise, or responsibility. But stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the absence of resistance. You do not lose stillness by walking, speaking, or working. You lose awareness of stillness only when you take back the burden of personal control. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Notice that peace is in him, not in conditions. Activity does not destroy peace. Identification with activity does. When you believe that you are the doer, the decider, the sustainer, tension arises. But when action is recognized as the movement of God through consciousness, effort dissolves. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. As you move again into the ordinary affairs of life, there may be moments when thought resumes its old habits, planning, worrying, judging. Do not resist this. Resistance gives thought importance. Instead, quietly remember, God is the activity of this moment. You need not correct the thought. You need only withdraw belief in its authority, and belief withdraws naturally when truth is recognized. Stillness does not ask you to withdraw from life. It asks you to withdraw from false ownership of life. There is a vast difference. You may engage fully, love deeply, work diligently, yet without the inner strain that once accompanied these things. Take, therefore, no thought for the morrow. This does not mean neglect, it means freedom from fear of outcomes. Time itself begins to change its meaning. You may notice that moments are less pressured, less urgent. This is not because time has slowed, but because you are no longer racing against it. In God there is no time, and as consciousness rests more frequently in God, the tyranny of time loosens its grip. Now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. And you need not carry this stillness consciously. In fact, the more you try to carry it, the more it seems to slip away. Stillness carries you. It remains, even when attention is elsewhere. Just as the law of gravity does not cease when you forget it, the law of divine harmony does not cease when you are busy. Your part is not to hold stillness, but to stop denying it. If, at any point, the sense of separation appears, if fear arises, if confusion returns, do not condemn yourself. There is no failure here. These moments are not signs that stillness has been lost, but invitations to rest again. Even a moment of inward remembrance is enough. Return unto me, and I will return unto you. Not because God departed, but because awareness wandered gradually, very gradually. You will discover that life is being lived more effortlessly. Decisions come without strain. Solutions appear without struggle. Needs are met without anxiety. This is not magic. It is alignment. This is the natural result of yielding personal will to divine government. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart, not by effort, but by reflection. And so we do not attempt to prolong this moment, nor do we hurry away from it. We simply recognize that stillness is not confined to silence. It is a silent foundation of every sound, every movement, every breath. Wherever you go from here, you do not go alone. You go as consciousness rooted in God. Now we come to a place where even the idea of having done something must be gently laid aside. For if the human mind claims an accomplishment, it will also fear losing it. And there is nothing here to lose, because there is nothing here that has been gained. What has been known in this quiet awareness is not the result of practice, discipline, or achievement. It is the recognition of what has always been. If there is a temptation to ask, did I do this correctly? Let that question pass. God is not approached through correctness. If there is a desire to measure the depth or quality of this moment, let that go as well. Measurement belongs to the mind. Truth belongs to being. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. And righteous judgment here is simply this: God is present. Nothing has been added to you. Nothing has been removed from you. You have not become more spiritual, nor have you improved your standing with God. You have merely paused long enough to notice that God has never been absent. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. This was not a promise for special moments. It was a statement of eternal fact. You need not carry this awareness forward as a task. You need not protect it, repeat it, or recreate it. Truth does not require repetition to remain true. The stillness that has been touched here does not depend on memory. It does not belong to time. It will be present in your next step, your next word, your next breath, whether you think of it or not. If tomorrow feels busy, if thought feels loud, if fear appears unexpectedly, do not believe that this moment has been undone. Nothing has been undone because nothing was done. The sun does not stop shining because clouds pass across it. The ocean does not lose its depth because waves rise on its surface. And God does not withdraw because attention wanders. There is great freedom in realizing this. You are not responsible for maintaining awareness. You are not responsible for sustaining peace. You are not responsible for keeping God close. God is closer than breath, nearer than thought, more intimate than feeling. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty, in the midst not approaching, not arriving later, not leaving when you turn away. And so we rest from even the effort to rest. We let go of the idea that something sacred must be held on to. We trust that divine law sustains itself. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. Not you will do it, he will do it. And he is doing it now. There is nothing more to say because nothing more is needed. The word has already been spoken, not outwardly, but inwardly. And that word does not return void. It accomplishes that which it is sent to do, quietly, invisibly, without announcement. You need not watch for results. You need not wait for proof. Life itself will bear witness. So we end as we began, not by leaving something behind, but by remaining where we have always been, in God, in stillness, in being. Nothing has been done. Nothing is needed. All is well. And now there is nothing more that needs to be spoken. Not because truth has ended, but because truth no longer requires language. Words have served their purpose. They have pointed, prepared, and reassured. Now they gently step aside. As John the Baptist said, "He must increase, but I must decrease." The voice decreases so that the presence may be known without mediation. Remain as you are. Do not adjust. Do not wait. Do not expect. Simply abide. There is no instruction here, because instruction would imply direction, and there is no direction in eternity. There is only being. I am that I am, not becoming, not unfolding, not arriving. Being. If thought arises, let it pass. If feeling arises, let it pass. If nothing arises, let that be so. Nothing that appears can disturb what you are resting in now, because this rest is not an experience. It is the ground of all experience. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. This silence is not imposed. It is natural. There is no need to remember this moment. There is no need to return to it. You have never left it. The stillness you are resting in does not belong to this time or place. It is the stillness that underlies all time and all place. Whether you are aware of it or not, it remains. Whether you feel peaceful or restless, it remains. Whether the mind is quiet or active, it remains. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Nothing more is required. Rest. Well to re. And so we let even these last words fall away. There is nothing to take from this moment and nothing to add to it. No truth has been given that was not already present. No presence has arrived that was not already here. The mind may wish to name what has happened, but there is no need. God is not known through explanation. We do not go forward from here. We do not return from here. We remain. The stillness does not end because the voice ends. The stillness is not dependent on sound or silence. It does not begin with attention, nor does it depart when attention moves. It is the foundation of being itself. The eternal God is thy refuge. Nothing more needs to be realized. Nothing more needs to be surrendered. Nothing more needs to be trusted. All that could be known is already known, not by the mind, but by being. And so we rest. No closing statement, no farewell. We verdot wende duscu. The silence continues.